producer, and composer. Everette Taylor, CEO, Kickstarter. And moderator Ali Jackson-Jolley, assistant managing editor for DEI, Forbes.
Did I mess up? Did I do something wrong?
Do you want to switch?
No,
we're good.
Because y'all had a whole pitch backstage about chair one. I need you to sit in chair two.
I think we're good. Stop exposing our secrets, please. Wow, aren't we in for a treat? I have had the honor, yes, please. I have had the honor of interviewing some of the most creative and innovative people in our country. And for me, these two gentlemen both sit at the top of that list. So let's jump in and see how they turn that creativity into capital. Everette, you started in the south side of Richmond. Wyclef, your start was in Haiti and Jersey. I think something that you both have in common is that you both built something out of very little. As I said, you turned creativity into capital. But I want to understand a little bit more about how you have always led with imagination. So Wyclef, I'm going to start with you and ask, what did imagination look like for you as a kid? What were you dreaming about back when you were just a little kid?
Yeah, so what up, y'all? So for me, as a little kid, I was raised in a place called La Serre, and that's in Quarabuque. So I was raised in extreme poverty behind a cemetery. So my early days, my imagination was the animals were my friends. So the roosters would wake me up. I had a donkey. The donkey was called Boo Boo. And you see, amongst poverty, when you like in extreme poverty, you don't know you're poor. You are aware of that, right? Mm-hmm. So what happens is your greatest gift is your imagination. So I remember we used to play a game called I'm Going to America. You feel me? So I get on Boo Boo, and then when I get on Boo Boo, all the kids in the village is like, okay, when you get to America, bring me back this, bring me back that. And then I go around the cemetery. And as I go around the cemetery on Boo Boo and I'm coming back, and the kids' eyes are lighting up with the gifts that we bringing back. So this is what we call, in America later I found out that's called my imaginary friend. So just to show you like the gift of imagination, once you can't dream and you can't imagine, that's when it's over. So I show you a slim story of poverty, extreme poverty, but yet can't feel it because the power of imagination.
Yeah, but most of us, there's been tons of study done about we lose the gift of imagination once we grow up, but yours never left you. How did you continue to nurture that?
That's a good one. So two people, one of my mentors was Quincy Jones, name drop, and then, and then Michael Jackson, right? So I remember like being in the studio with Michael Jackson. So this is what Quincy told me, and I'll never forget. Quincy says, once you lose your pulse as a teenager, then you're gone. And what that means is, in our adult lives, we get so busy that we forget the basic things that just used to make us happy. So even when you grow up, you can have kids, right, and do all of that, but never lose your sensibility of your teenage pulse, because that's still part of you. So you have to always find time for yourself. This is very, very important.
And Everette, same question for you. What were you dreaming about as a kid in the south side of Richmond?
Yo, honestly, going after you is crazy. But
No, you're good.
I had no Quincy Jones in my story, none of that. I had Lil Reggie on the corner and shit. Like that.
You my man for that.
I literally had cats on the corner saying like, man, I was gonna do this and I was gonna be this, and you actually had Quincy Jones. That's crazy. But no, for me growing up, like, I think my imagination was through creativity. So I would see because I didn't have that around me. I didn't have that around me in Southside Richmond. So I saw examples of that in people like Wyclef, musicians, artists, people in the movies. I would get so caught up in like film because it was like, wow, this is creating a whole universe that I didn't think was possible for myself. So for me, I would get lost, my imagination, I would get lost in the creative acts that I was seeing and I was absorbing in the world. And what that was doing to me was telling me that despite what I was seeing around me, that there was more for me. So it allowed me to continue to aspire for more and dream bigger. And I wanted to do everything. At one point I wanted to do music and I wanted to act and I wanted to paint and then I wanted to do all different types of things. And then like I would see MTV Cribs and I was like, man, I need all that. I need Pimp My Ride. And so anything that I saw where I was aspirational, I kind of wanted to grab that. And it wasn't until later in my life where I really started to hone into what I truly love, because sometimes we can get so caught up in like, you know, sensory overload of all the things that we see around us, especially now with social media, and it was important for me to tap into what I was genuinely passionate about.
Yeah, but talking about doing a little bit of everything and loving it, you weren't always the CEO of Kickstarter, you were a founder, you were the CMO of Artsy, and at your core, we spoke about this last week on the phone, that you really think about yourself as a marketer, or you think about why marketing matters. Obviously, you're an executive. But one of the things that really struck me is that you've talked about how marketing has to be more than just selling products. It has to be about telling people's stories and why they matter. Can you just, what do you mean by that? Talk to us about what you mean by that.
Yeah, I mean, like today, now, like people used to sit in front of a TV and there was like 3 or 4 channels and that it was only those shows, only those commercials, you know, like the albums, you went to your record store, if they had that was the only music you had access to, or in the radio. Now we live in a time where we have so much access, we have so much being thrown at us. It's like, what really resonates? And at the end of the day, despite all technological advancements, human connection, things that make us really feel, is the thing that really resonates with us. And so for me, when I think about marketing, I always continue to think about that human connection. I think about the beauty of storytelling. Like, despite everyone in this room, a lot of us are Black, we have very shared experiences, but also we're all unique in our own ways. But being able to tap into those shared experiences and the things that everyone feels. Everyone feels heartbreak, everyone feels love, everyone feels anger. Like, there's these emotions that we all have as a people, no matter where we come from. And I think it's important for marketing to see the trends and see those through lines to really connect with people on a human level, to continue to resonate and actually build authentic brands. And right now, there's a lot of brands that are being built that's inauthentic.
Let's talk about authenticity, because Wyclef, I had never met you until today. I had heard that you are an incredibly authentic person, but man, did I witness it firsthand when you walked into the room and serenaded the green room with your music, just from the heart. How do you both were rule breakers at one point. That's kind of how you rose to the top, right? But how do but at this point, you are leading major companies, major brands, you're moving your wealth around as the CEO. How do you maintain that authenticity when you've got to kind of be in charge of the rules too?
Well, I think for me, it started at a very young age. My dad was a minister. My mom, I was raised in the church, but coming from the Caribbean, it was 3 things. You was gonna either be a doctor, lawyer, or engineer. Rapper was not in the cards, right? So in saying that, I chose engineering. So at a very young age, long before I even knew what coding was, I was literally figuring out like math solutions. And I would say like the church and my daddy's church, it gave me a sense of discipline. And coming up, being like Kirk Franklin, like the choir director, every Sunday you gotta get it together because the congregation's depending on it. You know, your pop's putting pressure on you. He's like, yo, somebody out there might have cancer. Somebody out there might be getting evicted from their homes. Somebody just broke up with their girlfriend, their boyfriend. So this forms automatically a sense of discipline. And as simple as that sounds, that discipline is what I carry with me till today. I could be a consultant for Google AI, one of my many thousand jobs, because I'm West Indian, I have a lot of jobs. And I would walk in there with the same discipline as if I'm conducting the choir or the orchestration and the discipline it would take to come up with a jazz composition, and I credit my parents for that.
Yeah, I just kind of called you guys, I said you were once rule breakers, now you're rule makers. Everett didn't take that. He said he's still a rule breaker. I want to know, are you a rule breaker?
I think that the rule breaking is something that's just naturally in our DNA, right? Because in order for you to get to any form of a solution, right, you have to come up with what the next thing is. So but even before I came here, I did a post. I was like, yo, I'm on my way to, I'm about to do this, thing with the Forbes. You feel me, everybody? But yo, you know what I'm saying? But this is what I want y'all to know. Like, it's hard when people are constantly part of the same cycle of the same thing. So it's hard for them to see evolution. Every day has to be a new evolution of where you're going. If you're doing this, what I was doing yesterday, I'm not doing that today. I always say, we never forget the past, but only when we live in the present can we see the future. And so you're breaking the rules every day.
How are you breaking the rules? What are you doing?
I mean, I just don't like rules generally. It got me in a lot of trouble, and now I'm looking at my third grade teacher like, look at me now. Damn, it's quiet. But no, for me, it's like I look at rules as limitations in the sense that rules are created by people who tend to think like this. They don't look up. They kind of are like just looking kind of forward. And for me, like Wyclef said, things are constantly changing. And because things are one way today, or because things have always been this way, it's like I've always questioned, why do they have to be done this way? And when I came into Kickstarter, it was like, oh, we do this, and this is how we do things, and we've built ourselves into a global brand that's billions of dollars and all that that's flowed through this company. And I was like, just because we've done that doesn't mean that we can't reinvent ourselves and like do better, And so for me, when I came into the brand, it was very stagnant, right? And now we're about to post our best year all time, this year, So
Yeah.
it is. And that was for me just going in and saying like, oh, why can't we do this and why can't we do that? And actually doing those things and actually putting things into action that people thought that we couldn't previously do.
We're here at Morehouse. There are, I know for a fact, a bunch of Morehouse and Spelman and Clark Atlanta students here. So, Wyclef, this one's for you. What is that advice that you got an audience of some of the, perhaps the next Wyclef or Everett or the next best great Black generation? What would you tell them about what they should be doing now, what they should have their eyes set on?
I would say the most important thing is currently in Haiti, I sponsor the robotics program. And these kids are, I think the oldest one's like 16 now. And this is sort of like the third year. And last year in Greece, they came in number 3 on the world stage.
Yeah.
So as we move towards the future, one of the things that I constantly want y'all to look at is the evolution of technology. And how do we quantum leap technology to removing the things that NGOs are doing in its simplicity and constantly doing the same thing? How do we come up with a new solution for third world countries and third world islands to help take them out of poverty? And how do we start to look at these kids as no longer someone you're helping? Through technology, how do we start to implement them as partners? And as I'm working into the future towards these robotic programs, I do not look at these kids as kids that are NGO kids. I'm looking at them as the future of the technology. So I want y'all to think of that as we move towards the future.
Yeah. All right. Let's think about you. Brought me right where I wanted to go. Let's think about global opportunities. I'm going to give this one to you, Everett. Where do you see the biggest opportunities globally that we should be looking at and thinking about? Or for you, as the head of Kickstarter, or us, however you want to answer that.
Africa, Africa, Africa. That is, like, it's so untapped, and the companies that are not thinking forward and thinking about how Africa is rapidly changing, innovating. Africa is moving the culture forward. You see it in music, you see it in fashion, you see it in all these things. And any brand that's not looking at the continent and putting that into their current or future plans is really is doing a disservice to themselves. And so for me at Kickstarter, I'm really thinking about how can we support African creators? How can we, actually be able to develop a system where we can actually accept payments and do everything that we need to do and actually have a presence in the continent. I was just in Accra, and it's really, really important for us to have a presence in Africa. I think also Latin America as well. These places are innovating fast. People are hungry. People want opportunity. And so for me, I see that as the next frontier.
All right, this one's for you. And why can't I have 15 more minutes? Let's go through this as quick as we can because I have so many more questions in here.
Hey girl, I can see your body moving and it's driving me.
Okay, I can be done. I don't have to do any more journalisming. You called Quincy your blueprint. You said that Quincy Jones, your mentor, was the person who, in your teenage years, helped you think about the kind of entrepreneur, musician you wanted to be.
Yeah.
I want to know who you are being the blueprint for and what that looks like.
Yeah, so before we do that, before I lose my thoughts, here's a tip. My brother said Africa. I want everybody to look at a bank. It's called Afromex Bank. It's out of Egypt, $44 billion cap, out of Egypt, and it's moving through the world, and I think y'all have to get up on it right now. It gave $1.5 billion just to the Caribbean, just for the idea of developments. Don't forget that, look into that. As brother says, Africa, Africa, Africa. I think what I am now is I'm in that space that Quincy was in that space of just mentorship. And it's it's not about me, it's about you. And as we move towards the future, I just want to instill the information that I have in the next generation, and they're going to make it greater.
We're almost out of time. Everett, tell me, what makes you excited? What are you excited about in the future?
Oh man, we have some really, really big launches, big things happen in 2026. Whatever Kickstarter as today, I'm telling you, 2026, we're taking it to another level. I also want to give one shout out, because I don't think we've talked about it yet, but our partnership that we did with Tubi to distribute films, Kickstarter films to Tubi, that launches November 7th. So Kickstarter films will officially be distributed on Tubi, where they can monetize and get exposure and get the marketing and the eyes that they need. So I'm excited about that as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. Same question for you. What are you most excited about going into 2026?
Right now, just look out. We have an amazing app. It's called Open Wave. And what makes this app incredible, it's for creators. And basically, you own 80% of the platform. You own your own IP. You don't, anything you could think about, pants, shirt, and you could create literally anything. We don't take no money from you. You move with your super fans. The platform takes 20%. That's pretty amazing. On the music side, my new single is me, Rick Ross, French Montana, and it's crazy. It's called Back from Abu Dhabi. No cap, it's crazy.
That's the latest. That's your newest. Will you give us a little taste?
My daughter taught me how to do that.
Will you give us a teeny taste of it?
Back from Abu Dhabi, back from Abu Dhabi, back from Abu Dhabi, back from Abu Dhabi. Here's a taste, I'm just freestyle the encore. I came to represent and do something for the Forbes, man. That's my homie Kickstarter. Wyclef a rapper when it comes to freestyle. Listen, I'ma go a little harder. I could go from English to the Spanish, like, mira amiga, buenos días, señorita, como está usted y su familia? Estoy bien en el micrófono, espero que todos están bien como yo. Cameras are on me, and y'all still ain't convinced. Y'all might get convinced when I flip it in French, like, quand je mange de la valeur de la mort.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, that was awesome. Thanks, everyone, that's all we got. Thank you so much, that was awesome. All right.